Welcome back, episode 4.
Thanks,
We've made
mate.
it. We've made it. I don't know how we've made it, but we certainly have. I think we made light in the on the Instagram page. Today we're going to be talking about sleep, or the lack of sleep that autistic parents experience. But I mean, from your side of things, what's it like with Thomas?
Now, sorry, it's great.
Okay, good.
Mate, yeah, it's great. It wasn't always, but
Thomas is 5, isn't he?
he's 5,
Yeah.
he's going to be 6 in July. So
Okay,
he's nearly 6. We jumped on it quick
Right.
when he was small enough to be manageable.
Yeah.
We around the time that we'd accepted the autism, we very quickly started going, oh my God, all the horror stories of autism.
Yeah.
And the one thing that really came to my mind, I'm a massive like health nutrition geek, and one of those things is like sleep and the importance of sleep. And selfishly,
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, what's going to happen to my sleep? So we very quickly just went real deep in how we can try and create a situation for Thomas where we could, by the best of our ability, optimize it.
Did you know that sleep was an issue with autistic kids? Because this came out of the blue with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how I knew.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't know how bad it was. I just remember being like, okay, there's all the stims, there's all the noise.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they don't sleep. They bounce around all the time in the middle of the night. I had it in my head. I don't know where it had come from, but yeah, I did. I had some kind of an awareness of it.
Jeez.
Yeah.
We didn't know about this sleep thing when it came to autistic kids. This was just like the icing on the cake from our point of view. But literally, it has been, I'd say, from a parent's point of view and being a little bit selfish, this has been the hardest thing to navigate.
Yeah.
Is just that sleep deprivation from a parent's point of view, and then having to manage the next day has been absolutely horrendous.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the thing is with sleep, we said earlier, all parents experience sleep deprivation. Every single parent experiences it.
Absolutely.
However,
Absolutely. Yeah.
that sleep deprivation usually ends around 12 to 18 months.
Yeah.
If 18 months.
Start getting into a cycle, understand how to kind of
and they
regulate themselves and
exactly.
soothe themselves in the
and
middle of the night.
They start sleeping through.
Yeah.
Not the case for a lot of parents with autistic children, including you. I know
Yeah.
even now, Lydia's 4.
Lydia's, she was 4 in February. Last night was a prime example. I thought she was showing signs of being tired about 8 p.m., 9 p.m. She didn't go down to sleep till 12:30, and then she was up at 6, bouncing.
Really? So it wasn't even like morning.
It was
Woo,
full
let's
on.
go.
Yeah. So that's the other thing. When she wakes up, it's full on. It's
So she is a morning person.
No, she's not usually. This was kind of an exception. Usually, what we experience is when she wakes up, and that can be from anywhere from 11 a.m. the same day, right through to 4 a.m. She'll randomly pick a time. It's just luck what time she wakes up, but she will wake up sometimes just full on bad mood.
Oh, really?
Full on. So you as a parent, you're just woken up, not softly. It's the worst alarm clock that you can ever experience. It's just full on cry, meltdown,
Wow.
everything along those lines there.
So she's exhausted.
She's exhausted, but then you look at her the following day and
Yeah.
you're thinking, I'm having caffeine, everything else like that to keep me going, and she's just like, yeah, fine, I'm just carrying on now. Which is absolutely nuts. But yeah, it wasn't something I was aware of having an autistic child, that this was a major issue. But literally from day one of having Lydia, it's just been the case that Selena and I have often spoken about this dread.
Yeah.
The evening with, like, dread is the absolute right word for this.
And it's the unpredictability as well.
It is the unpredictability. If
you knew,
if there was a pattern, and I go, okay, she will be down every evening at 8, but she'll be up at 4 or 3. I know what the pattern is. We between us can put a little rota together and
Yeah.
say, right, you're on this evening, or this sort of thing here. But it's like I will choose to fall asleep between the hours of 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. and 3 a.m. But I'm not going to tell you which one it is.
Yeah.
And you still have to do everything else that you're supposed to do as an adult. Wake up, go to work, and there's been many occasions where Lydia has kind of, on the odd occasion, fallen asleep at, say, 7 p.m. and then midnight, 1 a.m. she is up, and she will stay up till 6:30 a.m., by which time I'm now getting ready for work, have to go in, do a full day's work, come back, and we repeat the process. I have done a situation where it's come to like Thursday evening, and the last time I actually went to sleep was Tuesday.
How does that like? I mean, we had a lot of this early on, but we through the grace of God managed to train it out of him. How? Because I can only imagine how it would affect me. How's that on your mental health, individually and as a couple? Because I'd go bonkers.
It's horrendous.
Yeah,
it's horrendous. Whenever you're tired, your fuse is that little bit shorter, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't care, who you are. Your fuse will, or your tolerance for day-to-day stuff or other people's bullshit, just disappears very, very quickly, and it's extremely, extremely difficult. But again, it sounds weird. You sometimes get to a stage where you kind of get accustomed to it slightly. I'm not saying it's a great thing, but because you're used to it, you now go, well, I can operate on 4 hours sleep. I don't know what the long-term effects are. I can't imagine it's
not good.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's probably taking years off my life, which we've discussed before is not what I want to happen with an autistic child that may need care for the remainder of her life. It's not great. Relationship-wise, it's absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
Especially the early year or two, getting used to it. Because what can you do? We ended up, because of the unpredictability, it was right, you go to sleep first. So it's like 8 p.m. You're trying to get your head down. It's still kind of bright outside. You're an adult and you're trying to sleep at 8 p.m. knowing that you need to set the alarm for 1 a.m. to then take over from your partner who's been downstairs with the little one to try and keep the house quiet, and then you switch over and you do that for a year. So you're spending like half your life kind of on the sofa downstairs when everyone else is asleep, and then just switching. So you're just kind of passing in the night, and then you don't have time to do anything because you're exhausted as a couple, and you're just kind of focusing on this unpredictability. And that's why I mentioned before, there's that dread of the evenings coming. What are we supposed to?
Yeah, and it's an evening every day.
Yeah, it's regardless.
It's not once a week.
No, it's regardless. You can have a very important thing that you want to do the following day. You could have a family event that you're going to, and we've turned up at things, and I'm really unfortunate that when I'm tired, the bags do come out under my eyes. Honestly, I've got bags bigger than Katie Price. Sometimes they're just like boom, there. So you just like, and people come up to you and go, "Oh, you look absolutely exhausted." And you're like, "Yeah, no fucking shit. I'm exhausted."
You reckon?
Yeah.
Do you want to know why?
Yeah.
You probably don't, do you?
No, you probably don't. And then you get those little things where you hear colleagues or friends say, "Oh my God, I had such a bad night's sleep. I only had 8 hours sleep last night." And you're like, "Well, I did 8 hours between Tuesday and Friday. What are you on about?" So, yeah, it's a particularly difficult one.
And it's just completely talking about your life here, Andy. But
yeah,
so there must be issues where, correct me if I'm wrong, but not only are you not able to get close, sitting on the sofa watching Netflix, that normal stuff. So that just the closeness stuff, or going out and be able to do stuff. I mean, none of us can do that.
Yeah.
But then I imagine there's some like resentment that builds up on the other end. So not only are you not close, but then if one of you goes to sleep and gets an hour, but then you have to get up, and the other one takes, well, the other one's had X amount of hours, you've had one. And
in the early days, yeah, absolutely, you do get the resentment in there. I've had it towards Selena. Selena's had it towards me. it's sometimes it's the luck of the draw what sort of Lydia you're going to get that night.
I was going to say it's nobody's fault, is it?
It's absolutely nobody's fault, but I remember in the early days, just kind of being very much like, oh great, yeah, I'm up again at 2 a.m. doing the 2 till 5, and you're kind of upstairs having a sleep, and then Selena would have said exactly the same about me, and I think that goes back to the previous episode where you don't have those conversations, you just have that resentment. Then that's when that kind of pressure cooker moment comes, and you do have an explosion, but that ultimately helps reset things.
So I'm genuinely interested. We've never actually talked this much about this sleep. You've touched on
no.
it.
Well, we're gonna be honest.
Jesus.
We're gonna be honest. We
So
said we'd be honest.
What is a typical night?
A typical night with Lydia is
Like the average.
Average. She will fall asleep between 7 and 10.
Okay.
And she can wake up anywhere between 11:30 the same day, or going on to 3 a.m. and then she'll be awake for maybe 3-4 hours, and then she'll realise that she's absolutely shattered, and then we'll just go down for a couple of hour nap, but always at the wrong time, always round about when you need to get ready to leave the house, or if you've got appointments to go to, like to the doctors or anything else like that. Oh, we need to go see occupational health today, and Lydia will turn up absolutely drained, tired, and just be a horrendous meeting.
And what's she doing when she's awake? Is she bouncing, or is she just
No, she
watching
is
telly and chilling?
No, she's full on.
Yeah.
Full on, yeah. We've tried, I'll put a bit of TV on. No, I want to bounce on the bed. I want to explore the house. I want to go and get every single toy out. I've mentioned we've got the wooden floor throughout the bottom of the house. I want to drop bricks.
Oh, she does that
on
in the
there.
middle of the night?
Yeah, absolutely. Everything else like that. Run between the two rooms. You can't even, again, we have to have kind of like children's TV on. And she'll kind of be interested for a little bit and wander off, do her own thing. The moment you try and put something on for yourself, because you're up at that moment in time, she'll run back in and she'll notice straight away.
Oh, wow.
So it's like that. And because you're desperate as well, this is the other thing, and I think a lot of kind of parents will have gone through this out of sheer desperation. You end up going there and getting suckered in by all these adverts that you see on social media. Because you've probably, in the middle of the night, Googled sleep deprivation in autistic kids. What's the cure? Is this normal?
Yeah.
And then obviously Amazon, Facebook, everyone else knows you've been looking at that, and you just get absolutely slammed with these miracle cures.
That just happen to be the thing that you're interested in.
Oh, the reviews, 100%. My child didn't sleep for 5 years, and I tried this, and in the second night they slept 12 hours, and you're like, oh, you're so tired, you go, oh, actually,
I'm going to try that.
I might try that. It's a weighted blanket. Yeah, that sounds great. How much do they want? Oh, 80 quid. Oh, I'm so tired. I'll just pay it.
Yeah, 80 quid sounds pretty cheap. I'll buy it.
So it's, I think, what have we tried? We've tried weighted blankets. We went to a sleep charity. We filled out the diaries to see if there was any pattern. They came out with recommendations. We followed the recommendations. It made no impact. We've tried no blue light, counselling naps in the afternoon, those sort of things there. And then we looked at the sleep diary, and there was no pattern.
No.
She could have a nap in the afternoon, say an hour nap, an hour and a half nap, sort of around about 1 o'clock, something like that, when she was, 3 years old at the time. And she would still wake up. We gave her a nap. She'd actually have a better night's sleep.
How are you cancelling a nap?
We have to physically wake her up.
Yeah, do what with her? I don't know what the expectation is when they say to cancel a nap.
We had the conversation with the paediatrician and a few people, and they were like, no, make it a power nap. 10 minutes, 15 minutes. She's gone into a deep sleep because she's obviously deprived.
Yeah.
And then we wake her up, and then we have to deal with a meltdown.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah. 45-minute meltdown.
Yeah.
So another 45 minutes of our day just with a child that is absolutely shattered, and we've woken her up. And then you think, oh my God, she is shattered. When she falls asleep tonight, she'll sleep through.
Yeah.
No, she'll treat the evening like it's a nap again.
Yeah.
And be up a couple of hours later. And there's been times where we've removed the nap, she's woken up at the same time, she's had a nap, she slept longer, and there's just like no pattern. We were going through the sleep diary, looking at the diet, everything else like that. Nothing was changing. So we've tried that. I remember at one stage paying 150 quid, which was for just one of those diffusers, steam diffusers.
Yeah, we did those. Yeah.
It just got marketed as ideal for these sort of parents that are absolutely desperate. It was just a bog standard diffuser.
Yeah.
It just had a couple of lights on it.
There's
a red light. There's a blue light.
Anything that's targeted at families of ASD kids.
Yeah.
The price just suddenly is double what it would be.
But we're willing to
otherwise.
pay it.
Yeah.
We're willing if it means that we can get the sleep sorted.
Yeah.
It's a price to pay. I'm happy to do that. That did all.
No.
Absolutely nothing.
Has there been any improvement over the?
The only thing that has changed is we went down the melatonin route.
Yeah.
We had to physically. We had a couple of meetings with our paediatrician, and we were making him aware. Sleep is really affecting us as parents. Now, not just Lydia, it's affecting us to being able to cope with life with an autistic child. And we had to say we want melatonin. So he prescribed 1 milligram. So just like really just a tiny amount.
Yeah.
Did nothing. And I know what melatonin's for. It's not to keep them asleep. It's to assist them in kind of going into a sleep pattern. She'd have that still wake up at the same time. And then we had that discussion in our heads before we gave the melatonin. It was almost before we spoke to the paediatrician about it. We're like, do we really want to be putting a drug into Lydia's system?
Yeah. We
had to have that discussion, like weighing it up. What's the pros? What's the cons? What's good for her? What's not good for her? Should we really be doing this? Because in the back of our mind as well, we were kind of thinking, we've talked about global developmental delay. We were like, how is she supposed to catch up if she's not having that deep sleep for her brain to make those connections?
100%.
All the synapses and everything else like that. You need the sleep to be able to grow and develop and everything else like that. And we were going, how is she possibly going to be doing that with 3-4 hours sleep a night? And then broken sleep. How's the brain going to be able to do that? So we said, okay, let's try the melatonin. It didn't work. We were still facing the same thing. Falling asleep, really, okay, it could be between 7-10 p.m, whatever the case may be. It's not really the issue. The issue is I just want her to be asleep.
Yeah, to stay asleep. And if she does stir, she can fall back to sleep.
Wake up at 6 a.m, absolutely fine. But if I've known you've got like 7 hours sleep, then great. And I know kids at that age, they should be getting a lot more than 7 hours sleep.
Yeah,
but
like pushing 12.
That would have been absolutely ideal. So we stuck with that. We went through that for a couple of months, made no effort. So we decided, we shouldn't be putting this in the system if it's not having a benefit.
Oh, okay.
So we withdrew from doing that. Recently, we've had another discussion with a paediatrician, and he said to us, look, let's increase it. Go to 2 milligrams. And then if she wakes up before 2 a.m. in the morning, give her another 2 milligrams.
Okay.
So, we stuck with that. We have noticed that there is this improvement, which is great. It's still not consistent. She falls asleep a lot quicker on 2 milligrams.
I bet she does.
She falls asleep very, very quickly on that. But when she woke up, if she did wake up before 2, and then we gave her the 2 milligrams again, it had the opposite effect. It put her into, I can only describe it as a foul mood.
Oh.
Really angry, upset mood. So we decided, right, let's cut that out. We decided to give her, and I'm not a doctor, I'm not recommending this for everybody, but it's just what's worked for us.
Yeah.
Usually say give melatonin a couple of hours before they go to sleep.
Yeah.
We know when Lydia is absolutely shattered, and we put it in that bottle of milk then. She has that bowl, she's out. And then we've noticed that she's almost sleeping until 4 a.m.
Okay.
most mornings. And we said to ourselves about 12 months ago, even if she slept to 4 a.m, it would be a lot better. We'd be happy with that.
Of course it would.
She sleeps to 4 a.m.
Okay. And now I suppose you're like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So,
So
you guys probably don't want to change
leave
anything now, do you?
And it's not every day. Like I gave an example last night, horrendous night. For whatever reason, I don't know what happened. It didn't work last night. It was just an awful.
And you can't think of anything that changed throughout the day, anything she was eating or anything like
no,
that?
There's no
rhyme or reason.
Yeah, it's there's literally no pattern to it, and we've tried everything. The was it kind of the hygiene side of things? Make sure the room is completely dark. There's no chinks of light there. The temperature in the room, all those sort of things there. We've looked at, but no, absolutely nothing on that side.
Mate, I feel for you like that. I can't.
It's the toughest thing, and then you kind of deal with everything else that comes with it. We've discussed this. You've got to fill out all these forms, the HCP, DLA, be an advocate, go out there and battle every single department that wants to be a roadblock in what you want to get for your child, and you're doing that just on your wits' end, but then sleep deprived as well.
Yeah,
it's a challenge, and then just trying to maintain normal life as a couple. There's also stepson Will in the house. He's 15, so he's got his own things that he wants to be getting on with and doing. So it's just like a normal household, but you're running on empty most of the time. And then the other thing is, because she is awful at sleeping, the amount of people that want to look after a child overnight on your behalf,
of course, is zero.
Yeah. To be fair, Selena's mum does help us out occasions, but it's usually for one night, because that's what people can do. So we can never go, we're going to go away for a long weekend. No, we're going away for one night. We've got to be back at a set time the following day.
Yeah, why would one night is one thing. You might like Selena's mum helps out every now and then. Doing that one night, that's a big ask as it is. So for her to do the one night, but to ask, I know you wouldn't ask, but for her to offer to do 2 in a row, some people wouldn't be capable of doing 2 in a row.
No.
And then functioning the rest of it, because it takes, as you know, you've got to catch up then.
Yeah.
But you guys aren't catching up.
No, we're not catching up. We're just in a deficit.
Just this perpetual state of no sleep.
Yeah. And then the weird thing is, I don't know if anybody else has gone through this. Every so often, Lydia will throw a curveball in there. And there's no pattern to this either. She'll fall asleep at 8 p.m. and then she'll still be asleep at 6 a.m. And it's just a weird curveball that just gets randomly thrown in there. And I found myself still waking up at 3 a.m. and going, why hasn't she woken me up?
Well, that's
yet?
your circadian rhythm now. Your circadian rhythm has gone to shit now. So now you're waking up at all the times you would normally wake up.
And my mind goes, there must be something wrong with her. So I still have to get out of bed, open the door, have a little look in there. As crazy as it sounds, make sure she's still breathing, because she hasn't woken me up.
Yeah.
So I'm still not getting any sleep on those days that she does sleep till 6 a.m. It's just a weird...
That is weird.
Weird kind of place to be
it's like
in.
a full moon or something when this happens. Like
Honestly, I have no
strange.
idea.
My circadian rhythm, although Thomas now sleeps through the night, I say sleeps through the night. He doesn't sleep through the night. He doesn't come out of his room. He stays in his bed, but he doesn't go wandering around the house or anything. But that's just because we jumped on it when he was so little that we trained him. He's still in a cot. It's just a real big ass cot.
Yeah.
So he for him, nothing has really changed. His expectation is, I can't leave this thing that I sleep in. Fine, I'll just lie here and scream and laugh. And so he is awake in the night, but we don't get disturbed by it unless it's that bad, because we have cameras and monitors. In fact, I'll go through all that in a minute. So I still wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, because that's the best he's ever really done.
Yeah.
Typically when he was younger. Now he'll push through to 6, but like the circadian rhythm thing, like I will wake up at 5.
Yeah.
No matter what. And by the way, I know that's really good. Like to be able to sleep through and wake up at 5. That's not what I'm saying. But it's just, my point is the circadian rhythm, our bodies are amazing at quickly learning what's normal for us.
Yep.
And unfortunately for you, what's normal is random as fuck.
Yeah.
And 3 o'clock in the morning.
We do things occasionally just to have a bit of a sleep. I'll go back to my folks and have a night's sleep.
Yeah.
And Selena will do the same. She'll go to her mum's
recharge
because I think in the early days, I touched upon it before, you get really, really kind of ratty. And it's just like, we had to have that discussion and say, look, we can't go on like this. We keep saying we can't go on like this. We have to find a solution for us as parents. What is that solution at the moment? What works? And it's like, right, I'll go here, have one night. You go there, have one night, and just try and recharge the batteries. But on those nights, you're still waking up, as you say. Woken up. What time is it? Oh, look at the clock. It's 2 a.m. It's 3:30. Everything else like that, you're still not really going.
No, you're not having this deep REM sleep that we're all supposed to have, or the normal sleep cycles we're supposed to have. You're not getting that.
No, you're still kind of, yes, it's great that you can then go, oh, it is 2 a.m. Let me put my head down again and get back to sleep. That is a blessing in itself. That is great. But yeah, you're not kind of going, oh, I've just had a beautiful 8-hour stretch, deep sleep.
Yeah, even when you had a night away, it still isn't. Yeah,
absolutely. So yeah, that's it. And we've had people, again, some professionals say to us, well, you should just kind of not go in the room and let her scream, let her cry it out, all those sort of things there. But then she's at the stage now where she will self-harm, in the sense that she will headbutt the wooden back of the bed or the wall, or she'll kick her feet so hard that when we go in there, she's got bruises on her feet because she's so distressed at at being up, or whatever the case may be. So there's no way that we can go, oh, that's fine, we'll just keep you in there for a couple of hours and we'll deal with everything in the morning. No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And that's usually kind of just standard advice that you seem to get. But it doesn't really apply to our sort of children.
That's what I was going to say. That's kind of the standard advice with, babies and toddlers. I mean, and I'll touch on kind of what we did, and how it worked. And I don't for a second doubt I don't doubt that it isn't to do with the fact I was a dog trainer for 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm very kind of black and white, and it's kind of come second nature to me. And I kind of did that with Thomas. And because it was a nightmare, I mean, Mish was sleeping on the sofa or I was sleeping on the sofa. We were never in the same place.
You're just doing shifts, aren't you?
Just exactly.
Yeah.
But ultimately what ended up happening is I just got to the point where I was like, okay, it was actually when we accepted the autism, I looked at it through the lens of autism. Prior to that, it was just, this kid's like an absolute nightmare. Why? No idea. But then when you look at it through the lens of what it is, we were very much, it was this whole dog training thing. I was like, okay, this kid's waking up in the middle of the night and he doesn't know it's not time to get up. There's nothing telling him it's not time to get up. So I was like, what can I do? So blackout blinds were obviously clearly a priority, but we also got these Philips Hue lights. Have you seen the ones you can control them on your phone?
Yeah.
And we bought a couple of cameras that were like 30 quid off Amazon. And they're still there in different positions, so we can always see him wherever he is in his room. And essentially what we ended up doing was we wouldn't go in the room if he was screaming and crying. Not because we'd advise not to, but the idea was, any time that we've gone in his room, it's been to get up. Yeah. So how does he know that when I walk in at 3 o'clock in the morning, that it's not time to get up? I can't tell him it's not, because we can't communicate. So I'm like, what can I do? So I got in the process of turning these lights on, just dim, slowly turn them on when it was time to get up. And for the first few nights, it was horrendous. We'd lie there, and Mish is going. He wasn't self-harming, by the way. So that, like, I'm excluding that. If they're self-harming, you need to get in there.
Get in there straight away.
There. But just really agitated. I mean, you could call it wasn't self-harming, but like rubbing his hair. It looked like he was pulling his hair. He wasn't. Just awful. Like, it looked like he was going to explode. So you can imagine we're lying there on the bed looking at the cameras, and Mish is like, I've got to go in. And I'm like, don't go in. He's fine. He's safe. I'm telling you, if we just push this for a few more days, he's going to click. And in my, I'm thinking, please, in a few more days, I'm thinking, please click.
I'm going to look like a right idiot here.
And like putting him through what she thinks is torture.
Yeah. Which is understandable. You hear your child cry.
100%. I was finding it hard.
you
I'm
know-
just going from this. If we don't do this now,
Yeah.
we're screwed.
Yeah.
And ultimately, he very quickly, maybe 3 days, he learnt that. So he'd wake up in the middle of the night and he'd look at the lights. We'd see him on the camera looking at the lights, and he'd look at them for maybe 30 seconds, and he's waiting for them to come on. If they don't come on, he'd cover himself up, still awake, but he's not trying to get up. So he'd like cover his blanket and he'd laughing and giggling and making all of his autistic noises.
Yeah.
But we were so hot on that even when it was time to get up, if we forgot to turn the lights on and we went to walk in the room, I'd go, we'd shut the door again. He's just seen the door open. He knows we're coming in. But we just got in this routine of going, phone, lights on. Now I walk in. So that he always knew the lights came before the door.
Yeah.
So if the lights never came on, for him, the door ain't opening.
Yeah.
So it was always lights, then door, lights, then door. And that, without a doubt, has got us to where he will now, as a profoundly autistic, nearly 6-year-old, we can say, time for sleeps, and he will walk up the stairs, go into his bed, let us brush his teeth, and he'll sleep until 6, with some spouts of being awake in the night. But like I say, when he wakes up in the night, he's not trying to get out, go anywhere. He's
not opening door handles and
he's just
wandering around
lying
the
there
landing.
making noises. And I know that some people put latches on doors. We haven't got it with it, but they'll put latches on doors. People say that's cruel, and I'll be like, but what you don't understand is the alternative is if you're asleep in the middle of the night and your kid walks out that door, falls down the stair. I'd sooner they were in a room where I could see on a camera that they're safe and have the audio coming through in case they're crying, than give them the freedom to walk around in the middle of the night, possibly open the front door, the back door, and leave.
Yeah, we were on about, do we get another stair gate? Just put it in front of the door. Do we get a latch, like you mentioned there, and literally shut her in? We had somebody tell us that what you need to do is turn the door handle upside down.
Yeah, you can do that. So you have to push it up.
So you have to push it up rather than pull it down to get out. So there's kind of different things there. Going back to Thomas now, where he is at the moment. If you switched the light on at 3 a.m. now, is he at the stage where he's just going, oh no, my cycle is I will sleep till 6, or if that light goes on at 3 a.m. he goes, oh no, it's time.
If that light came on in the middle of the night, he'd be like, boom, it's time to wake up. Yeah.
Oh wow.
So it is so trained in him.
Yeah.
That light means what it means.
Yeah. Have you done nights away with Thomas without the light, or do you take the light with you?
No, Thomas. No, we literally. Thomas has that light.
Yeah.
That's it. This is a bit of a sad part. We tried. When something works well for you, you want to share it with everybody. Like I've just shared that now. There's loads of little things that we do, and early on when it worked, we went into like the Facebook groups. We wanted to scream this from the rooftop. Like, if this works for 1 in 1,000 of you,
happy days.
Amazing.
One family will thank you for that.
The amount of negative we got back.
Really?
Oh my, it was horrendous. Oh, so basically you mean it's one of the, these little there's almost like an alarm light.
Yes.
I can't remember what they're called. It's just a self-contained an alarm, and it comes on at a certain time. It's not remote controlled or anything. And it's like, oh, you mean one of these? And it's like, no, it's not that. It's actually these. That they're not expensive. You can get the Philips ones, but you can get Tesco versions of them. I just please try them. And it was just, oh well, I'm glad it works for you. Like, it was real sarcastic and negative, and we just came off. And I was like, and this is probably the first time I've openly talked about it, just because. And the thing is, you're in the polar opposite position of me. Yeah. So you're like the perfect example of the kind of person that could take what I'm saying as a negative.
Yeah.
Yeah. These people, and you haven't. You're just going, Mate, that's amazing. Glad it worked for you.
Yeah. It's a shame that people are like that, though, isn't it? It's a
Awful,
shame that,
mate.
you know, we're all suffering in one way or another, aren't we? You just think... I mean, I said to somebody the other day, I think they were American, it was something like, I thought we were supposed to lift each other up and not shout each other down. We're going through the same thing. What is the point of you just being a negative bastard about it?
That's what's been nice about this Instagram.
Oh, it's completely different. Honestly,
Instagram, if we'd have done the same thing on Facebook, I'm not sure it would have been the same
no
kind of community vibe.
I don't think so. I don't know what it is about the Instagram side of things, but every single person in there has been understanding, even if they haven't quite agreed,
or they've got a question, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They've gone, I didn't see it from that point of view, or genuinely have gone, you know, I'm really pleased it has worked for you. It hasn't worked for me, but I'm glad it's worked for you. No one's gone in there and just ripped somebody apart. And, you know, having kind of, you know, thousands of people in there, you would expect there'd be one person, one bad apple in the cart.
Yeah, no, it's been
really good. And again, people sharing what's worked for them has been interesting. Yeah. So we put that post up about we'll be discussing sleep, and it was nice hearing people's stories, just to realise that me and Selena aren't unique. We haven't got,
mate,
in a horrible sense of the word, we haven't got a child that's, you know, one in a million that does this. It just sounds like, oh yeah, we're going through exactly the same thing, or we're on melatonin, but we're on this many milligrams, and we have the same issues that we have 3 hours sleep an evening. So yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's interesting.
It's Facebook's just a different beast. TikTok's been a little bit the same. We'll share one of them after. But it was on early days on Facebook. I remember there's a lot of people in the groups that go, this is the fourth TV my kid smashed up, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I went in there once, and I genuinely, from a real, you know, honest place,
Stop buying TVs.
I said, have you tried putting the TV so it's fixed on the wall,
on a bracket?
Holy shit!
How dare you give me a reasonable suggestion?
Backlash I got for that. I was just like, well, you keep putting your TV on the TV stand at eye level, and it's getting smashed. Have you tried putting it up on the wall?
Exactly the same. We used to have a nice house.
I love the pause. We used to have a nice house.
Yeah, a tidy house.
None of us have got that.
None of
us have got that, have we?
A relaxing house, a sanctuary, shall we say, that used to come home from work and unwind with many, many alcoholic drinks. Now it's caffeine.
Yeah.
But no, the TV, flat screen TV, on the stand there on the TV. As soon as Lydia started walking, straight up to it, rock. Push,
yeah, we have
push.
that.
Or when she started to learn how to throw, obviously she doesn't realise it's a TV. She's just throwing anywhere she wants. Bang, bang. It took us a couple of days to go, I'm going to Argos. Bracket. Half an hour later, no more issues.
Yeah.
TV's on the wall, it's on a bracket.
Yeah.
She's not breaking it.
You can understand from a kid's perspective. Like Thomas used to do it, where like, especially if his programs are playing on it, on a big screen, he'd get like flat hands and he'd just bang.
Dirty hands.
I'd be like,
flat, dirty hands.
Like, oh, it's gonna.
There you go.
Yeah, knocking it, rocking it, so it's gonna fall off that way or fall off that way. Just put it on the wall.
Put it on the bracket.
I mean, if they manage to still smash it on when it's on the wall,
fair play.
Credit to them, really. Fair play.
Yeah, well done. You're a better thrower than me. But yeah, but you get people. I think everybody knows somebody where. Be careful what I say. You know somebody that is very good at moaning about something.
Oh yeah.
And as soon as anybody comes in with the right recommendation, they just want to poo-poo it away. Because they just want to wallow in this self-pity and, oh, my life's so difficult. You're like, no, you can make it better by doing this. How dare you give me a suggestion? No, I'm like, well, why put the post up?
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Yeah, no, that's true. A lot of people don't necessarily want the help. They just want the sympathy that comes with needing help.
And I don't know whether that's a Facebook thing. I don't seem to notice it on Instagram.
No, I don't. And Instagram's been great. Even TikTok. TikTok for the most part, has kind of been, and I use the word ignorance, not like willful ignorance. This is ignorance for people that, if you don't go out and learn about autism, and why would you if you don't have an autistic child? People have got their own lives. That why would you go out of your way?
And we've discussed this before.
You know, you just wouldn't. So there's people on there that when we're talking about it, some of the responses are like, it was about the. If you've got a child that's got an appointment in the middle of the day, it can be quite difficult to get them to reintegrate them back into school
from a regulation point of view.
Exactly.
And the pattern that they've built.
Exactly. And somebody made a really good point that if you give a child one day off, you've literally reset the weekend.
Yeah.
So it might be Tuesday. You've given them a day off.
It's Monday again.
Yeah, exactly. So you reset the weekend. If you do that on a Thursday or on a Friday, or it is actually the weekend, they think it's reset. They've now got a 4-day weekend potentially. But it's just this kind of, guys, you need to build some resilience in these children. They need to be able to. They need to learn that this, and this. And what's really interesting is a lot of the comments come from people that they're saying they're autistic. Now, there's some people that are diagnosed autistic. Some people that aren't. I think a lot of people call themselves autistic just because they're a bit quirky. I don't know. Maybe they are. Yeah. But a lot of these people are like, I'm autistic, and I found that it's much more beneficial for me if if I get to do this. You know, no one's tried to protect me from anything in my life, and I'm doing absolutely fine. And I'm like, mate, awesome. I'm glad. If you're autistic, you're clearly quite highly functioning. You're typing very articulately on your phone. If you could get through life perfectly, awesome. More power to you. But there's this assumption that because they're autistic, they suddenly know the mind of every single other person who's autistic, profound or not.
And they will speak on their behalf on every subject.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So there's a lot of that on TikTok, which is fine. Which is fine.
Yeah,
it's all fun.
It creates talking points, which is good.
And I noticed a couple of people came and helped me out yesterday, so thanks for that. You were noticed.
Yeah.
I kept jumping in on the comments like, thank you very much. Yeah. So what next, mate? I mean, have you had any things that, because we tried loads of stuff, like obviously diffusers being one.
Yeah,
diffusers, weighted blankets. Is that something you tried?
Yeah, weighted blankets, diffusers, changing the material of the bedding, changing the bed, lighting. We've tried lighting, cancelling naps, not cancelling naps, bathing her in the evening, not bathing her in the evening, bathing her in the morning, not bathing her at all, having showers, not having showers, no TV. Yes, TV. Having dinner at a set time, making sure her stomach's full. All those sort of things there.
You've literally done everything.
I'm trying to think if there's anything I've missed. Tried praying. That was one of them. To the sleep guards. But obviously they didn't hear our prayer because they were fast asleep. So yeah, I think we've literally tried everything. That we possibly can, and I think the most extreme is obviously trying to get a drug, such as melatonin. There's
a lot of people. I think a lot of guilt comes with the whole melatonin thing.
Massive amount.
We looked into it years ago, and there's this.
I felt we'd failed.
Yeah, a lot of people were, but ultimately the thing is, like, with sleep is so important to all of us.
Yeah.
For function, just daily function. Thomas has come on leaps and bounds since sleeping.
Yeah. Because
he's sleeping, his brain is organising itself while it's asleep overnight, and then the next day his ability to learn more, so he can communicate better. But that then communication facilitates going to bed. Yeah. We could communicate. Time to brush your teeth. It sounds so simple, but getting there is not simple.
No. What else have we tried? We've tried trying to fulfill all our needs. So she'll have a day where it's been active. We've been outside, fresh air, everything else like that. We've made sure she's eaten what she will eat, whether it's the same thing that she usually has or whatever the case may be. We've had days like that come back and she's been absolutely wired. We've had days like that when she's come back, she's been shattered. And you're like, what is the fucking difference between those 2 days? And we could replicate the same day. We'll go out, we'll go here, we'll go there, and we'll come back at this time. We could do that over two days, the exact same routine. It'll have a different outcome. And then you're just like, how? And you just sit there trying to work it out and you cannot fathom what's going on.
And is there any help as opposed to here's some melatonin? Is there any like
no? There's where we are. No, we said about if you kind of have a bit of social care help, would you be eligible for Restbite? Unfortunately, the funding for Restbite has been cancelled now, so you can't have somebody like you take Lydia for one night, please. No, the funding's been cut for that, and it's only now for children with extreme kind of illnesses, which absolutely agree. Yeah. No, if the funding's got to be cut, it's got to go to the most needy.
Yeah, of course.
That's not an argument. Yeah. But from our point of view, it just means no. It's very much wherever we speak to somebody, it's like kind of look on their face like you're just gonna have to suck it up.
Yeah.
And you're like, right, okay, cheers. You've been great help.
People forget. Like, I don't forget. I never forget anything sleep related. Like I can remember how horrendous it is. When you told me the first time about how your sleep goes, like it just made me feel sick to my stomach because a lack of sleep really fucks me up.
Yeah,
right, really messes me up. So I can only imagine what it's like for the two of you repeatedly. If I get one night where it's a little bit skew-if, I'm rough for a day or two. Yeah. I can't eat, mate. I'm like so much sympathy. I can't even fathom it. Yeah, and it's not just you. Obviously, there's many families going through this. A lot of people are going to be listening, going, "Yep, that's me."
Yeah. We've seen the stats. People listening to the YouTube channel at 2:30 a.m.
Yeah.
I wonder why you're awake.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, it's hard. It's I'm saying it from my point of view, but if Selena was sat here, she'd be saying exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
And you have 2 bad nights in a row. It ruins you.
Yeah.
And many times Selena's, bless her, she's taken the brunt sometimes because I've had, work to go to, or I've got a really important meeting tomorrow. I'm involved in this, or I've got to go, somewhere else, and Selena's like, right, I'll deal with Lydia.
Yeah.
And you could just see after 2 nights just how it affects her, and then it could take a couple of nights for her to recover. And one thing, I'm fortunate in that I don't really suffer from this, but Selena has told me like that the early years, I say years because it is years with Lydia, she just had a constant headache.
Who did?
Selena.
Did she?
Just because of the lack of sleep.
Yeah.
It was 24/7, constant kind of that stress headache there that you can't shake off.
Yeah.
And I remember her having to go to the doctors, and they were like, "Oh, well, yeah, we can give you some tablets, but it might not resolve it. It's a sleep issue." And you're like, "Okay, but you can't do anything. You can't physically do anything. It's you have to look after your child." So she went through years, and she's going through one now. But if we go through a period of Lydia being quite difficult and the sleep is really messed up and there's no pattern to it, they return. And then that has an impact on the rest of her day, even when Lydia's away at kind of at the childminders.
Yeah.
It impacts what she can do that day because you're constantly walking round, feeling massively tired, throbbing head, and you can't do anything. And I remember saying to her, look, you go to your mum's, have a couple of nights there. I'll deal with Lydia, but because it's chronic, if we can use that word, a couple of nights ain't gonna solve it.
Nope.
And she'll come back as like, it's been great having a couple of nights away, but I'm still feeling exactly the same as what I was. And I imagine there's many other families that have similar stories.
There's going to be countless, and there's no. I thought the last one was a bit down in the dumps, wasn't it? We've kind of done it again, but it's an important issue. There's a light at the end of the tunnel, I think, but you don't know when that's coming.
No.
You have no way, like, when you have a baby, you're like, well, 18 months old, 2 years, maybe I'll have full night's sleep again.
Yeah.
You have no clue when that's coming. No. It will come.
Yeah, at some point, I'm
will
sure.
come.
I'm sure at some point.
But you don't know
will
when.
Come.
It's a bit like your nights at the moment. You don't know when you're going to woken
No.
up. The only analogy I could think of, right, when I think of what your nights are currently like, right, when I was in the army, when I was in basic training, we'd go on stag. So essentially, everybody would all be in a big circle, and everyone would all be camping out in a little foxhole underneath the poncho, and you'd have some certain sentry points, and you'd all take turns on these sentry points, right, to wait for an enemy attack, right? You knew the enemy attack was coming. You didn't know when, because the corporals and the sergeant have got something planned for you.
The enemy doesn't usually send you a telegram saying...
You don't know when it's coming, but you know it's going to come.
Yeah.
And the first sign of it will be some shamoolies going up in the air, and then they'd start firing. Blanks, obviously.
Yeah.
But as part of that, throughout the night, you take turns going on stag. So when you do, someone will come up to you in the middle of the night, tap you on the shoulder, and they'll go, mate, it's your turn. And you'll be like, fuck. You know, you've maybe had an hour and a half sleep, like, pissing with rain. So you got to pack all your kit up just in case you get bugged out while you're on stag. So you pack your kit up, okay, you're ready to go on stag, and you sit there, right? Now, the best time is when you're awake and you're pointing your weapon out. Your kit's packed, you're ready to go. You're thinking, if you're going to attack, do it now.
Yeah.
The worst time is when your kit's all unpacked and you're in a deep sleep underneath your poncho. Worst time.
Yeah.
And that's what I imagine it's like for you every night.
Yeah.
You don't know when it's coming. You know it's coming.
You know it's coming.
You know it's coming. You don't know when. And when it does, you know you're going to be like a complete daze. That's what it was like for us.
I've had times where I've woken up at 2 a.m. and she's still been asleep. And I don't know, this is some sort of weird telepathy, but I've gone in my head, oh, it's 2 a.m. Please don't wake up. As soon as I've said that in my head, she goes, "Nah." I'm like, oh. So now I don't even say it in my head. I just go, just in case.
It's hard not to say it in your head when you're thinking it.
Going to your kind of experience there within the army. I remember watching SAS Who Dares Wins and saying to Selena, all right, the rest of it I'd be absolutely shit at. The bit where you put headphones on me and keep me awake for 24 hours with a baby crying, I would absolutely smash that bit.
That's the torture bit, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the torture. I said, that's the bit. Sign me up for that
That's
bit.
my life.
Yeah, I can cope with that bit. Throwing me into cold water and then making me run up a hill, not so much. But that bit, absolute bliss. I'll nail that part of it. But yeah, it is a little bit like torture, isn't it? I suppose. It's,
I think so, mate.
I'm fairly certain security services have used sleep deprivation as a torture.
I'm sure it's not intentional on Lydia's part in any way.
No. Just trying to get the information out of me.
It's certainly torturous. Listen, is that us done on sleep?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know what
it's
else
a massive topic, mate. But essentially, we've only got our experiences, and our experiences are polar opposites currently.
Before we came out to the studio here, because she'd had a interesting night's sleep, she could tell she was absolutely knackered and she wanted to have a nap in the afternoon, but for whatever reason, she just won't let herself go now. So she'll wait now until about 4 or 5 o'clock, and then she'll crash for a nap, which will absolutely screw the evening up. So we tried like.
So here we go. So this is what a typical health professional would say to you, because I was thinking it.
Yeah.
If you tried to keep her awake till 7,
no chance.
But if you did, let's just say, for argument's sake, let's say you managed to keep her walking around until 7.
Yeah.
She still wouldn't sleep through the night, would she?
No. No, there's not.
There's no rhyme or reason to it.
If you can stop a 4-year-old that has had like 6 hours sleep, and stop them from falling asleep when they're absolutely shattered, fair play to you. But we tried to force her to go and have a nap at like 1 o'clock because she was getting absolutely grouchy. I remember just sat next to her bed and she was just like throwing herself about, or just like all those sort of things there, getting really worked up. And she's got one of these dangly kind of fidget things. It's got like a fidget thing on a rope that goes around a string. Yeah. I just like literally sat next to her and she's in the bed there. All of a sudden she got so worked up, she went whack like that straight across my face before I came out. I was like, fucking hell. like that. And it's just the anger that kind of materializes because she can't regulate herself. So obviously, it just be like before I came out, I just locked her under the stairs.
Yeah.
And just
He didn't, by the way.
I didn't lock her under the stairs. It was the cupboard. And then just came to the studio.
You didn't lock her in the cupboard either.
No, I didn't.
In case anyone comes chasing us.
She's got a key. She's got a key.
She's got a key, it's fine.
Yeah, but I think that's kind of my experience of sleep. And that's just like, again, two dads talking about it.
Yeah.
Very, the kids are very similar.
Very similar.
Profoundly autistic. They're going to be going to the same school.
They are.
They're non-verbal.
Yeah.
But massively different.
They are very similar, aren't they?
They are.
They're like, they are the same kid, just different genders, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much. 18 months between them.
Yeah, they are very similar.
But in terms of this aspect, massively different.
Polar opposites.
Yeah, they'll share very similar aspects in what they do in other parts of their lives.
And that again is why this thing about the whole spectrum being as long as it is wide, the people just think, where are the child? Where is the child on the spectrum? Where are they along this thin line?
It's not a thin
It's
line.
not a thin
It's
line.
not a thin line.
It's not a thin line.
Jeez, it's not a thin
But that's
line.
what they think. People just think, well, I'm a little bit autistic as well.
Everybody's on the spectrum.
Everyone's on the spectrum. Where are you? I'm here.
No, it's not quite like that.
No,
mate.
you're not.
You're not. That's it.
Right. Good.
Yeah.
Bad.
Bad that's happened this week.
Start with bad.
Start with bad.
Start with bad.
In the household, I don't think there has been anything majorly bad.
You could just use the sleep thing.
But the sleep thing is the norm now, so
Yeah, I know.
I can't say it's the bad.
Yeah.
I think it's been a pretty good week. Trying to think. I'm going to pre-record this, go home and see, and goes, no, it hasn't. You forgot about this.
When Mitch listens to the podcast, I'm always
Why did you say this?
Did I miss this out?
No, I think we've got a few back and forths with the EHCP side of things. We thought it had been finalised, and they were like, no, it needs to be renewed every 6 months. And we're like, you haven't finalised the one from the 6 months prior to this. What's going on?
Interesting.
We're like, well, the specialist school have got a copy of the EHCP, and they've come round to the house and said everything's, they're working off that, and no, we need more information from this person, and
okay.
Just constant back and forth with them on that side of things. But I don't think anything else has been majorly bad. How about you?
My bad, right. So it's kind of a bit of a mixed good and a bad. So we went to, and a lot of people will be able to kind of appreciate this, we decided the other day an impromptu visit to a play barn. Would be nice.
Yep.
Thought he likes play barns, so we showed him a picture of the play barn on our phone, and he stared at it for a while, and then did his little clappy stim thing and just started stimming and going, okay, cool, looks like he's happy with that. So we got him there, but we got him there just before another party had booked it out, which wasn't advertised on Google. Right, and I get it, they can't advertise everything on the Google listing. Totally get that. Had we gone on the website, we would have seen it. So really lovely staff. We've actually got a party starting in 10 minutes. So you could come in, but then it'd be for 10 minutes, and we were like, because we've autistic kids, black and white, we told them to go into the play barn, so we're coming in the play barn, so we're paying for 10 minutes essentially. So we go in, he runs off happy as Larry, and then just as it's coming up to this time for this party, 10 minutes later to come in, we've already gone on the phone and found another local play barn, which isn't as Sen friendly, shall we say? Let's put it that way. No, not even that. It's a classic play barn you'd find on a busy Saturday afternoon. Okay.
Yeah. This is already stressing me out. Just
So-
hearing this.
So we show him the picture of that. Now you could tell he's clever. He's looking at the play barn that we're now showing him. While in a play barn, he's like, "You want to go here?"
Is this like a?
But he's
Is this
going.
like a Tinder profile? You look at someone's Tinder profile, and then you meet them in person. And they're like,
He's
"This
looking
is
at it,
slightly
he's like,
different."
okay, so you can tell he's thinking, let me get this straight. We're now going to this play barn when we're already in this play barn. And bless him, confused as he was like, okay, almost like, all right, you fucking idiots. If you want to leave this play barn to go to another one, I'm fine. Okay, let's go. So he leaves this play barn
Saddle up.
after only 10 minutes.
Right.
So I'm already like, mate, you are something else.
Yeah.
So he like gets in the car. We drive around to this other play barn. Go to this other play barn. Packed.
Oh no.
Packed. It's one that's attached to a pub. So it's packed.
On a Saturday.
Yeah, on a Saturday. The kids, the screaming. Bear in mind, the one he was just in was a really big play barn, and it was pretty quiet.
Yeah.
Medieval Madness. You know the one? Battlefield? That's the one we were at.
Yeah.
Medieval Madness. We went to Two Henrys. So we went in there, and
I've been to both.
he was so excited to go in, even though it was like half the size, not half the size, like an eighth the size, and he's kids everywhere running around. And now I nearly cried. I'm such an emotional wetter. Yeah. I'm sitting there watching him, and he's fingers in his ears, and he's just walking around, and he's trying to get past the other kids, but they're also boisterous, and he just stood there in the end like this, just like didn't know what to do. And I'm sat there with Mish, and she's going, "This is really hard," and I'm going, I don't know how long I can sit here and bear this. I was just like. I was like, this is killing me. He was just like this, and he wanted to go up, and these kids kept pushing, and just being kids, just being typical kids.
Yeah, which is it's designed for that, isn't it? Yeah.
And I sat there, and it just hit me how vulnerable he is. Like he's so sweet, he's so vulnerable, and it was killing me. Yeah. Now, just before I messed this bit out, just before we left the other play barn, when the other party was coming in, it was a Sen party, right? The lady said, whether she could tell, I don't know. She went, "Is he Sen?" I'm like, "Yeah." She went, "You're more than happy to join us. Problem is, we've already, at this point, said to Thomas, we're leaving to go here. And this is the reason everything works so well with Thomas, is because when we say something, good or bad, is happening, we follow through.
Yeah.
Even if we regret it later, we follow through. So he knows now. If we say something's happening, he doesn't want to do it, he's like, may as well crack on. They're going to do it anyway. Same with the good. So if we say we're going to do something, we do it.
Yeah.
So this lady said, I said, that is so kind. I wish we'd known sooner. We thought it was just a normal party. Thank you so much. She went, "You're more than welcome anytime." And I thought, I love you. You're amazing. What a lovely lady. But we said, listen, we've already told him we're going. You know what it's like. And she went, totally understand. So we sat at the Two Henrys. He's walking around like this, bouncing off all these other kids. And I'm like, should we take him back? She's like, yeah, let's get him. So we got there, scooped him up. Now show him a picture of the play barn we've just been in previously. Look, we're going to go back here. And he's like, okay, all right, fine. So we get back in the car, drive over there, and the lady in there, like, one of the staff went and said, listen, they've come back. Can they come in? And she was like, absolutely fine. Went in and had an absolute ball. My bad was realising you forget sometimes when it's your own kid and you don't open them up to the world, or if they're at a specialist setting like Thomas is, he's not vulnerable there. Suddenly you stick him in the middle of a bunch of crazy lunatic typical kids, that vulnerability just shone through, and it scared me again for the future.
I won't take Lydia to certain soft plays now.
No,
because it's become so apparent how different she is. There's a little bit of selfishness there, but also just overwhelming sometimes, because the other children don't truly understand.
No.
And they're saying to her, "Oh, come play with me," or they're trying to, sometimes the lads, what they're like, they barge her out of the way, or whatever, like this sort of stuff, and she can't quite understand what's going on. And then they have Sen sessions at a lot of places, which is great. And
the Sen sessions are quite funny. They're like almost magnets with an opposite polarization of each other. They like just ignore each other. Yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah, it's just like disappear.
They're all having fun, but they just don't interact.
And sometimes they're at completely random times. That's the only other thing.
Yeah,
with Sen things, they've gone, well, what's our quietest spell in the working week? We'll make it a Sen friendly session to get people
usually
in.
Late on a Friday or a Saturday.
Yeah, that doesn't work, does it?
No.
Funny you said medieval madness. I told Selena I'm never going there again.
Oh, why? What happened?
She takes Lydia there. I just think the first time I went there, I was so used to kind of paying for the child to go in, every time that we've been there, they charge the adults for entering
Oh,
as
yeah.
well.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not coming to go in the ball pit and climb the thing.
Yeah,
I'm
that takes the
I
piss.
will be buying coffee, as you're fully aware now.
Just about to say
and
that.
it only came in my head because Selena said, I took her to a toddler session, the specialist toddler session they had. I said, so it's aimed at toddlers. So they know they're bringing their parents, right, or a parent with them, or a carer.
Yeah.
And they still charge the adults to go in. I'm just like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's a piss take.
Doing?
They shouldn't charge parents.
It's for the kids.
Yeah.
You have the cafe there for the parents.
Yeah.
That's how you make the money.
Yeah.
Don't charge an extra.
Yeah. Well, they make more out of the parents for the coffee and the cake and stuff than they will for the one admission for the child.
I've used that as the excuse as to why I'm never going.
Well, that's the real reason I'm not going.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, that's an interesting. So the
good.
Ugly.
No, we need good.
We haven't done the good, have we?
No, give me a good.
Good this week. Apparently, Lydia's turning into a daddy's girl. Selena's words, not mine.
Oh.
So yeah, just kind of interacting with me a lot more, following me about, and all those sort of things. So yeah, apparently she's a daddy's girl.
Do you think that started with that ball game you did last week?
I think a bit of that. Yeah, we still did a bit of that yesterday as well. So it's
really?
carried on. Yeah,
Brilliant.
So still doing that, and just getting on her level, and all the sort of things that dads do, chuck them in the air, and all the rough and tumble sort of stuff, which she absolutely loves. So I think she's enjoying that. So
brilliant.
Apparently, yeah, she's a daddy's girl.
Good.
So yeah, we'll see.
That's a really good.
It's really good. Yeah. How about yourself?
Mine, pretty simple actually, pretty straightforward. Mine was actually it's a bit too. It's the stuff with his communication back and forth between play barns. That's massive. Leaving a play barn after 10 minutes to then go back again to another play barn. Like I just thought that was wicked. It showed a lot of trust. That's what it was. Yeah. He trusts that when we say we're going to do something, we're going to do it. Which is important. It's so important. With the lack of communication, whatever communication you have got, if they trust you, they're like, okay. Yeah. All right, let's make this thing work then. But what got me yesterday, that was going to be my good, but then yesterday I bought some grapes. He hasn't eaten grapes in ages. He used to be really good eating fruit. He's just not that much anymore. And I used to try and do this game where I'd give him something to eat, and if he didn't want to eat it, I'd be like, okay, give it daddy, and then he'd put it in my mouth. He's never done it. Yesterday, I just thought, I'll have another go. I said, do you want a grape? Thinking he's not going to say yes, and he didn't. He was like there, and he put it in my mouth, and I was like, "Oh, this is fun."
Okay.
So I was like, "Do you want another one?" And he kept it in like 4 or 5 grapes. He was piling these grapes in my mouth,
just like a Roman emperor.
And then he went, bit it, and then he went. Took the whole tub and walked off. I was like, well, I didn't have that planned, but that's quite good.
Oh, so that's pretty good.
He walked off with his tub of grapes, so I was just like, me and him had a little bit of a thing, and then he messed off and started eating a load of grapes, mate. So.
It's weird how you leave stuff for a period and then try it again. They're like, oh yeah, it works now.
Yeah,
like,
bonkers. So so it was good. All these little moments like that are really cool.
Yeah, they're really good.
Ugly.
The ugly. I think you put it on the story.
Yeah.
I didn't realise until I saw a message come through with an angry face. I was like, that's not like us to get an angry face.
This is like I said on the video yesterday. Obviously, you've been spending a lot of the time on Instagram. I've been trying to fight fires over on TikTok.
Yeah.
Because it's just a different place over there. And just this comment came up. So I thought, I'll stick that on the story.
Yeah, I'm going to read this comment because it's clearly from somebody that's done a lot of research.
They clearly know autism very well.
They've been to the University of being a fucking idiot. So, John.
Hi, John.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6 said, "There's no such thing as autism. It has been invented by poor parents, bad parents, irresponsible parents, and negligent parents. They want to blame everyone else except themselves. If they'd taken control from day one, there would be no problems." So yeah, clearly a village is missing an idiot, and he's on TikTok.
I just wish we'd had all this information sooner, because I think a lot of us could have ended up with typical kids that weren't struggling in life.
He's cured it.
He's cured it.
He's cured it because obviously it can be cured.
We're all just shit.
What a bell end. So yes,
that's the ugly.
That's the ugly,
and there's a lot of it.
Yes,
but
I'm fairly certain he's not alone in that sort of thinking, but
it's ignorance for the most part. I mean, somebody said yesterday they'd read a comment I'd put on TikTok, and they said, "How can you be so patient?" And like I just said, like most of these people most of these people in life, when they say shitty things, it's because they've got some shit going on themselves, and they're just kind of reflecting. But for the most part, with autism, it's difficult to understand autism unless you're in it.
And even then, just our discussion about the differences.
Yeah, exactly.
Just shows you that if you think you crack it.
Absolutely. All I would say is, if you don't understand autism, don't throw any opinions out there like you do, because he clearly hasn't got a clue what the fuck he's talking about.
Yeah.
But it's willful ignorance rather than malice, I think, for the most part.
Yeah, absolutely so. But it didn't upset me. It made me kind of chuckle to myself.
Yeah.
I think you get so far down the journey,
Yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah,
Just
definitely.
it's like water off a duck's back.
Exactly.
You just go,
Try and be
mate.
try and be stoic about it.
Yeah.
And also, I did a thank you yesterday, didn't
Yes.
I? For seventh,
You think people?
mate, we've just done 9,000.
There you go.
I did a thank you yesterday. Today's Sunday. Yesterday was Saturday. I did a thank you for 7,000, and it's now 10 to 2 on Sunday afternoon, and we're on 9,048.
Jeez, it's and this is, you know, we've said this before. We didn't expect this to take off like it has. We thought there was a gap there for two dads to talk honestly. We couldn't find anybody else doing it similar, doing this kind of thing. So we said, why don't we just become the voices and do this? We never expected to have people start even listening, commenting, engaging, offering advice, everything else like that, and to see it grow. In 3 weeks, it's 3 weeks and 1 day today since we put our first reel up, and put the first podcast out. It's 3 weeks, 1 day, and we've got kind of now 9,000 people on Instagram who are going through very similar sort of thing as us. We're at 600,000 views on our Instagram channel, which is insane. YouTube's growing. So it's just to say again, thank you very much.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people say keep speaking out, keep doing this. You know, we're not going to slow down. We're going to keep being true, honest, and saying it as it is, whether that's good, the bad, the ugly, as we kind of done before. But it's you guys. I mean, you keep sharing the information. You keep commenting and telling other people you must go here and read this and view this. It relates to what you've told me previously, and people are doing that. So you keep pushing the topics out there. We'll keep talking about them.
For sure.
It is a community, and we do want to kind of keep helping people, keep discussing topics that nobody wants to really engage in. And at the same time, we've had people go, you know, I've got friends that are going through this, but your reels or your, you know, podcasts have made me realise that they're going through quite a bit, and it's helped me understand them and be able to approach them on certain topics.
The value in that is massive, of course.
So we'll keep doing it, and hopefully we'll be on 10,000 very soon, and see where we.
I can't believe it.
See where we go. Yeah. Well.
I love it. It's great. It's amazing
It's good.
that so many people are getting value from it, and they're all helping each other out. And like I said yesterday in the comments, that I go in there thinking, it's a comment we need to respond to. No, nothing to do with me. They're all just talking amongst themselves.
No, absolutely great. And it's nice to see people sharing their experiences or saying, have you tried this? And especially when it comes to EHCPs and things along those lines there, people are going, this is my experience of it. And how's it working in your local authority? And it's been really good. So we keep forgetting to say this, but do go on YouTube, do subscribe, put something in the comments, all that sort of stuff there. It just helps the algorithm, and it's going to push it out to more and more deserving families that are going through exactly what we are all going through as well. So if you'd be kind enough to do that, absolutely fantastic. But who knows where we'll be for the next episode.
What are we going to do?
I don't know.
Let us know. Any suggestions?
What we should do for 10,000?
Yeah.
Drop it in the suggestions.
Oh my God, we'll be 10,000,
Yeah.
Jesus
If it involves a bottle of beer, then I'm good.
Right.
Or maybe we just go to Medieval Madness and pay to go in there.
To go in.
And use the ball pit. So put it in the comments, let us know.
Brilliant. Cheers, guys.
Thank you very much.
Care.
See
Bye.
you later. Bye.